shake the hand of the greasy, slicked back real estate agent as he steps out of his over-borrowed AMG Mercedes. He hands you 2 business cards. We're looking for an electrician. Welcome to Simplified Sparking Marketing. BNI is a funny organisation. For starters, I'm going to compliment it. And if you are in the B2B space and you're looking for more business with other businesses, BNI is quite a good little network. So the stick with BNI is you can go as a visitor. I think you may have to get invited, but you can go as a visitor and you can rock up. And the structure of it is they try to take one professional per industry. So for example, if you're like this, if you're an electrician, they may only have one electrician. However, sometimes they do have it where they'll have a commercial electrician and a domestic electrician. So they split the work. So I had the pleasure of going to a few of these meetings, which I'll get into. So I have been to them and I have seen what the goal is with them. But the backdrop to it is you pay a membership every year. I'm not too sure how much the membership is. I think it's about, I have a feeling it's 1,500, but I could be drastically wrong with this. So I'll fact check that. But you join up, you have to kind of go through a vetting process where they'll check you out to see if you're a good fit to join for starters. And then you will enter into almost like a little mini community. So there's numerous chapters of this in Australia and I believe worldwide. And what happens is you meet up once a week, have a breakfast, usually at pretty early, like 6 a.m. So they'll meet in around the CBD. There's some in the suburbs spread out as well. And I think there's ones up towards like the Central Coast and Newcastle. And as I said, I think this is worldwide. So there could be ones in other cities as well, but I'm not too sure. I didn't do my homework on that. But that's not the point. I just want to give you a gist of BNI within Australia so you can check out your own locality of what's going on. But how it all operates is you meet once a week for a breakfast and that goes on for maybe 2 or 3 hours. So you'll run through the minutes, the referrals of that you've given, the money that's been generated through the referrals. And that's really what it is it's a big referral network. So as I said, for businesses that work business to business, B2B, it would be very beneficial if and only if the people in that network suit your referral circle. So, for example, with trades, you can enter it, and I know about 3 or 4 people that have been in BNI groups, and they've gone into them, stayed with them for a few months, and they were like, "Fuck this, it's not for me. I'm getting out of this." Because I think what a lot of people miss as well is like, it seems like you're only going to do 1 or 2 hours with the BNI every week, but you actually end up spending a good half a day or more in there. So it really does suit companies that have got a few staff that somebody can duck in and represent the company. If you're solo or a one man, it is going to suck up a lot of your time. Like it will probably take up a good 4 to 5 hours of that day, because not only do you have to go in, mingle, go to the meetings and show up and be present, you also have to get to know other people's businesses in there. And it is vital that you do that, because you've got to refer those businesses and they will refer you, which is what I'm going to move into my experiences. So my first BNI was probably in 2017, and I went there as what did they call it? Like a guest of one of the members. And I was in the CBD and I suited up and went in there. Obviously my mates got bring business cards. So I brought a whole heap of business cards, and you go in there and the vibe straight away is everybody's over friendly, very, very fake. In other words, I didn't like the vibe, and I got this in a few chapters. They call them chapters that you go to. Look, my honest opinion, it's very clannish, it's very cliquey, it's very culty. You're either in the clique or you're not. And I think when you get in there, it gets ruthless. It gets down to, did they give me referrals? Are they pulling their weight? I got no referrals off him. She sent me 2 referrals, so I'm going to send her referrals. I'm going to tell you a little story of like why I don't like this style of referral network. And I think it's better to build your own network as a Sparky, to reach out, to go to little networking events that you know there's going to be Sparkies there, that even Sparkies, like as I've spoken about previously in the podcast, you might do aircon, somebody else may not do aircon. You can cross-pollinate. Somebody might do level 2. They can do level 2. You can do your own kind of work, and you can cross-pollinate in that network. But particularly if you can find other trades like plumbers, carpenters, etc., mingle with those kind of people, and it's going to serve you a lot better. Because something that's being missed as well with BNI is Yes, it might only cost you 1,500 for the year. That could be drastically wrong. So again, fact check me on that. But your time, as I've spoken about, is your biggest asset. And if you're a one man band and you're going to these BNI meetings and it's taking up 6 hours of your Wednesday, it's a big drain on your business, because let's say hypothetically that your business, you charge $200 an hour. So that's $1,200 every Wednesday that you're not generating, or it's unbillable hours of 1,200. So every week it's actually 1,200. So every week, so that ends up, whatever the math is, and that you do the math, that yearly it costs you a lot of money to go to these meetings. And as I said, you're being scrutinized every time. That, are you doing your one-to-ones? Are you finding out what that person's business is like? Are you referring people? Are you referring people and they're getting leads? And like, this is what I don't like. Is one of the stories behind this is, I was at a networking event with electricians with an organization which I'm not going to name, and a gentleman at that meeting who was part of a BNI group said, I was like this, I've been at that organization for years, that their website is shit and they need an app, and they're after changing the website and it's still shit, and they didn't listen to Alan. So that's when too many cooks spoil the broth. I digress. So at that meeting, I was speaking about getting an app, and the person, one of the other electricians there, was part of a BNI group, and he goes, oh, you need an app? Fuck, I've got a guy, a really good guy to build apps. Do you want a referral? And I didn't think much of it at the time, and they were like, yeah, sure, we can speak to him. And then later on that night, I said to that guy, I goes, fuck, did you get an app built, or like, what, do you have an app? Like, how do you know this guy is so good? And it's like, I don't really know at all, to be honest. He's just part of my BNI group. And that's the kind of shit that goes on. And I know somebody right now that is doing SEO on his website, and his referral came from a BNI network. So his friend referred somebody from his BNI group, and I think he's doing okay. I think it's not a bad choice or a horrible choice, but that's how he got his referral. But like, it would have been better if that person had have got somebody that like knows trades inside out and has worked on like tradie websites, and they know their shit around trades. But that referral, like, my mate was backing his mate by saying this guy's really good. But at the end of the day, there's a bit of badness to it, because he's saying he's really good, because the next meeting he's going to stand up and he's going to say, I want to thank Mr. X for sending me, a recurring 2 grand a month business. Well done. And they all clap and cheer each other on. So that is why I don't like it, is like the referrals are a bit fake. And I was actually at one stage as well, there's another story where I'd heard of somebody that was getting a logo created for their business. And they had said, I know a really good guy, it's $1,200 to create the logo and do all of that. And this was before AI and all of that. Like, AI is absolutely going to shit on that industry. But he was like, I know a really good guy and it's $1,200. And the reason he was so adamant to use his guy again was BNI brownie points, that it's like, hey, he referred me work, or you referred me work, I will send you work back. So it's the referrals get a bit nasty, and then you're almost on the chopping block as well, that you have to start sending referrals, as I mentioned, because if you're not pulling up your socks and sending referrals to random people, and you're putting your name on the line as well. So for that example, like, let's say that guy that's doing SEO, that all goes fucking P-tong, it's going to backfire, and it'll come back to their friendship being destroyed, because it's like, I've spent thousands with this guy and he's a dud. It's like, you only referred him because he's part of that network. But yeah, so that's my honest opinion of BNI groups. It's like, look, they are fantastic if you've got a slightly bigger company and you're in with the clique and your ideal people are in there. But the amount of people that have joined and left that I know of is crazy. They go in and they just think it's for them, and then they end up not liking it. But it's definitely worth the visit. If you're curious about BNI, by all means, pack your pocket full of business cards and flick them around like frisbees. If I collected any more business cards at those fucking meetings, I need a bigger van, to be honest, to load up the back. And a lot of them end up in the bin the exact same way my cards ended up in the bin, because I failed to get any work from these BNI groups. But I went and I mingled. So the basically, you go in there, everybody's overly friendly because they want to make a good impression. like your greasy real estate agents and stuff like that. Oh, we're looking for electrician. Yeah, we're always curious for electricians. And it's like, can you undercut my electrician? So that is that you go in, you have your breakfast, and the most intimidating thing for me is like I'm probably a little bit used to it now, but I didn't like public speaking back then, and I was very timid. So I got in there, and this one meeting that I went to, there was probably like 150 people at it, because it was one of the ones where they have a lot of guests come in and members and stuff like that, and you have to stand up and say what you do. And like, this is before I knew fucking anything about marketing or messaging or anything that I speak about now. But like, in fucking trembling, I stood up with the microphone in front of like 150 people. And I was like, I'm Alan, I'm the owner of this company. I'm an electrician. We do all kinds of electrical, like the shit that I preach that you fucking shouldn't say now. But that was like, it's a big intimidating part. So if you do go to a BNI group, have your shit together and be prepared that you're going to have to introduce yourself to the other members. And it's quite intimidating if you don't like standing up in front of people. Now, some people love it, and you will find that as well. Is like, I'm a pretty introverted kind of person. Like, I know I'm on socials and Instagram and all that, but I live a pretty low key life. And there are people in those BNI groups that thrive on that as well. Like, they almost love the limelight. They love the microphone. They love standing up and talking shit. But yeah, BNI groups, they weren't for me. Really didn't like the clicky cultiness of it. But as I said, it's just not for me. But what works for me mightn't work for you, and what works for you mightn't work for me. So there's a lot of people that do like BNI, but it's definitely a thing. If you're curious, go for a look. It's worth a look just to see what it's all about. And yeah, let me know your experiences. But that is my 2 cents on BNI this week, and I'll catch you next week. And also, there'll be a bonus coming this week, because I was on 40's podcast, Spark Your Interest, last weekend, and it's gone live, so you can get his Spotify link is live right now. Otherwise, I'll be dropping the podcast myself, probably on Wednesday. I'll just drop a little bonus podcast, and we will catch you the following week. Any links, all of that, resources are in the description. If you want to chat to me, shoot me a DM if I can help your business in any way. And there is resources and all that in the bio underneath.